it's a pleasure to be here in the European Saxophone Congress. And let's start this session with a little bit of introduction. So first, this session is not entirely concert. My program is a little bit introduction of the romantic music and the application of saxophone in it. And my name is Reno. I'm from Taiwan. And I received music training entirely in Italy before I studied computer science, something like that. So currently I'm a music teacher and concert saxophonist in Italy. I'm also the assistant of foreign student affairs in conservatory operation. Previously, I had another project that I play soprano saxophone, which is the smallest saxophone in the world. And my graduation concert and the thesis are all about the soprano sax. So I built a channel called Sopranismo, and I put all my recordings there. And I also invented the world's first solfege. I call it Yi-Ling. It's a solfege system of the 24 equal division of an octave. So basically, it's a group of syllables like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, but you can pronounce every tone, semitone, and quarter tone with it without repetition. And my latest project is this project, Saxofono Romantico. And today's pianist is our lovely Yi-Ling. Please give her a round. She's also from Taiwan, and she completed her music training in Italy, and now she's a professional collaborative pianist and soloist here. So before further development, may I understand a little bit how many of you are from Italy here? Only two. Oh. So, for example, lady, where are you from?
Austria.
Austria. Oh, it's very international here. Okay. As you may know, that in Italy I don't really have much chance to practice my English speaking, so forgive my pronunciation and grammar stuff. Okay, so a little bit information about the project. So the idea starts in 2022 and initiated in 2023 with a collaboration with piano professor of conservatory operation, Schumann. And we have already held several concerts, including several important works of the Romantic era, including two sonatas of Brahms and the fantasy pieces of Schumann. So the most important question here today, why did I choose to play saxophone with romantic music? And also perhaps why you would like to try to make your students play romantic music. Okay. So I started with a little bit on the historical background. So I was thinking when Adolf Sax created saxophone, it was 1838. So what is in his mind? Just a little bit before 1838, many important composers of Romantic era, early Romantic era, has already passed away, including Beethoven, Bellini, Weber, Schubert. Rossini was still alive, but he already composed his most important works at that time. So there's already an influence of Romantic music. And around 1838 and a little bit later, there are also other many important composers, including Schumann, Mendelssohn, Berlioz, and of course Brahms. So the first question I asked is that what music Sax had in mind while building and improving the saxophone? I think Romantic music has a very important role here. And the next question is, what saxophone is capable of in the hand of these great composers? Because we all know at that time saxophone was not that popular and not that widespread. So many of these composers perhaps never even get a chance in their life to actually touch and hear the saxophone playing. Yes, we have some romantic compositions like Sing Li and many other early composers, but let's be honest, their influence was not that great compared to these ones. Okay. And then, I think there are many characteristics of saxophone that is quite compatible with romantic music. One-of-kind tone color and a huge dynamic range. And perhaps the most capable vibrato among wind instruments. And a fingering system relatively simpler in wood, among the wood instruments. So these elements actually already give condition to saxophone as a usage of virtuoso and espressivo in romantic music. Also, I think in romantic era, there are many more further explorations in melody and dynamic expressiveness compared to Baroque and classical era. Okay, because there's a but at the end. But why there are so many saxophone friends and colleagues playing Baroque music and classical music, especially in quartet, but not that much in romantic music. Okay, I think there's we have to, based on current training system in music schools, and add some tweaks and set a little bit of improvement, so our playing mechanism can be more suitable for romantic music. But I will discuss this topic later. So playing romantic music can actually bring the player some benefits in aesthetics. Okay. For example, when we play and when we study romantic works, we have to re-examine and improve the control of the most fundamental details, like your ability to breathe, and the volume control, and the different attacks, and of course the most trivial intonation control, and how to control vibrato. And also, through this study, you can actually improve your harmonic perception and your ability to play cantabile, the melodies. Okay. So basically, all these details are for one objective, to make the most simple things, like a melody of 2 or 3 notes, but very long phrase. Very simple things, beautiful. This is actually an interesting challenge. I once had a conversation, a chat with a professor of Detmo, the music university, Liang Hangul, and she told me she had also a problem that when her students first started to play like the 48 studies of Freleng, the students don't understand how to play them well because they don't have the basic idea of how to make a simple melody beautiful. So, at the end, through all these details, and we can enhance actually the intentions of playing of the player. Because in romantic music, when you play, if you don't have a strong enough intention, the music becomes automatically boring and like you're lost. So it's like a requirement for romantic music.
I'm sorry, can you answer this direction?
Sorry. It's okay. Okay, and of course, the last thing is that there are some personal reasons, because some type of music actually brings me headache, like contemporary music and some other works. Personally, I'm not that interested in playing sound effects in many modern compositions. And like in jazz, the sound, for me, it's a little bit aggressive sound in jazz. Okay, so I'm not interested in playing those kind of stuff. So the last thing is here's the quote. I have asked many of my saxophone friends, concert saxophone friends and colleagues, after the public feedback after their concert of modern works. So most of them got this line. The piece, it sounds difficult and your technique is fantastic, you're very good, but I don't quite understand the music for modern works. So this is one of the reasons I choose to develop in romantic music, because I'd like to, perhaps, I hope that after the concert, the audience can come to me and say, wow, it's really beautiful. That's simple. Okay, because romantic music are actually one of the most relatable genre in classical music for the public. Okay, so we are going to bring you the next piece. Is the third romance of the opera 94 of Schumann.
the sonata from Brahms and these romances from Schumann
Yes.
originally are written for piano solo or for piano and another solo instrument?
Oh, yes, the sonata number 1 of Brahms is actually originally wrote for clarinet.
Ah,
And this one is originally
Only-
script for, right for oboe. Oboe, yes. Okay. Now I'm going to share with you a little bit of interpretational ideas I had in this path. Okay. So the first thing, as you may have noticed, is the overflow, the altissimi notes. So if we want to preserve the original tonality of the work or to play works originally for instruments of large range extension, like for example viola or clarinet or even cello. Okay, so if we want to preserve these, it's inevitable that at least on the alto saxophone we have to have the ability to play the altissimi notes, and not just 1 or 2 notes, but occasionally we have to constantly stay in the altissimi range. Okay. So then the next question will be how to select fingerings. So personally, I think we have to choose fingering based on music, okay, based on the tone color required for the piece you are playing. For example, I know many saxophonists play this fingering for high A. Okay. But I wouldn't choose this fingering because, first of all, it's difficult to play piano on this fingering or on my instrument. Okay. And there's a little bit problem of intonation. So in this case, for the high A, I always use number 2 and number 3, these two for the fingering. There are too many selections, too many choices for altissimi notes, so you have to select based on the characteristics of your instrument. Okay. And then we have to have more dynamic controls on altissimi notes. For example, when I play the Brahms one, if its original playing style of other altissimi notes will be, because it's difficult to play piano. Okay, but in this music, okay, so ideally we have to play even the high notes with quietly, and we have to apply vibrato to altissimi notes to achieve more expressiveness. So this actually requires a lot of study. Okay, and the last thing about altissimi, there's a little bit trick when you have to teach your students how to overblow this saxophone. Okay, so I know in the music schools the training is often involves the playing overtones of the basic notes, but I found a very simple way. So first, tell your student to only take the neck, and tell him to not play the neck first. Okay, tell him to imitate Lord Voldemort. This sound, because it actually closes your throat. And the more high frequency in this sound, it's more easy to play, to overblow the saxophone. So normally they start with the position, the throat position like this. They don't know how to close it. But you tell him, because they are all Harry Potter fans, you tell him to imitate Voldemort's sound. And right away they can play this. So it's already one step further. So, and then based on this, you can tell him to like play sequence of short notes with this higher sound. And then tell him to gradually learn to play low sound, high sound. To train his throat. Okay, so personally, in my experience, if you tell your students to do this, it will be a little bit faster to tell them to like press the low A and try to overblow the note to control. This, according to my experience, is quite more effective. Okay. So let's continue. Then we continue to the vibrato problem. Okay. So most of us have learned the first line to vibrato downwards in most cases. Okay, it's perfectly fine. Okay, but after working for like 1 year or 2 years in romantic music, I find actually the upward vibrato is very useful when we have to play legato. So just it will give the saxophone a little bit string feelings. So for example, don't worry. Now I have to jump from one note to another. For example, okay, if I play the upward vibrato, downward. I play downward. Okay. And now I play the high ray, the high D with the up vibrato. It's just a trivial difference, but I think the effect is quite obvious. Okay, but and then there's the problem of frequency of vibrato. I don't know about other countries, but I think, according to my experience in Italy, there are not many focus on how to do vibrato. Right? For example, when one play a long note, they just they don't give it too much thing. So I think there's a first problem is the frequency. Okay, most of us, I think, have been told by our teachers like mostly 5 or 6 times is enough in a second. Okay, but if you want to play romantic music and explore more possibilities, I think you have to take up the frequency. Like without a mouthpiece, you can do like 9 times per second or even 10. Okay? So when you actually play the mouthpiece, you can actually vibrate the small notes, short notes. So I think it creates a huge difference, because if one hear only flat note in short notes, the result is very mechanical. But if you can add vibrato on even short notes, there are more options you can take. So then I'm going to share with you a small exercise trick. So how I think why there are when many musicians do saxophone still vibrato, they can't do very fast because they haven't think about training the muscle of opening the mouth this direction. Okay, we all are very strong with this direction to close the mouth, but to achieve a vibrato with higher frequency, we have to train the muscles for like actually opening the mouth. So if that's an effective way, you can go to Amazon and buy a fitness band, like a rubber band, and make here and try to do resistance training. Okay. Then gradually, these bands come with different strengths, different elastics. So gradually, you can grow the muscles to open your mouth. Okay. And for me, this works very well. If you don't want to buy fitness band, you can like try to just use your hands, like occasionally like this, to train your muscle. Okay, so to have faster vibrato, you need not only to close your mouth fast, but also open fast. Okay, the next section is the interpretational elements of romantic music. So the first one is how to attack and sustain, basically how to show one note. The right hand side, that one, I personally like to call it the clarinet style note, like I have no problem with it, but I don't think this kind of phrasing is very suitable for romantic music. So instead, we have this time, the left hand side, I call it like the string, like the strings, the string notes. So I think this kind of attack is more suitable for romantic music. And also, this is relatable to the second point. We have to get used to these signs. The fortepiano, sforzando, and two hairpins. This, in romantic music, these signatures doesn't mean the same thing in modern works. Because in modern works, we see the sforzando, very strong and immediate. No, but in most cases in romantic music, the sforzando is played like this. So it's very different. So if you want to develop more on romantic music, we have to adapt ourselves to this kind of phrasing, like the music we have just played. Here we have a fortepiano, but we can play like it's not the same thing. And even though he wrote fortepiano under only one note, but this effect actually sustained for like 2 tempo, 3 tempo. So it's like a wave, not like a punch. It's very different. And the last thing, interpretational-wise, the flow of music is very important because in many romantic works, important works, the flow of music is at least like 1 bar. So you have to tell your students to gradually quite thinking vertically. Yes, it's basic training, but he has to adapt to think longer, more horizontally. Okay. So, and the last thing, of course, is literature. To play romantic music, we have to study a little bit of the history, the biography of the composer. It helps actually to interpret their works. Okay, and because it's there are a long line of interpretation traditions on the string instrument and other more antique instruments. So we better to spend some time to understand what traditions there are for this music, and so we can know if we can decide if we are going to break it or not, or to add our own specialties. And then, of course, there are many dimensions of the liberties in romantic music, which is very different from modern works, because modern works, composers write everything on the sheet music. But on romantic music, they give you only hints. Okay? So you can hear from many recordings the same piece, but interpreted by different masters very differently. So like liberties in tempo. Some people do like rallentando at the end of the phrases, and some doesn't. Something is more flow to not play rallentando. So I think for saxophonists, to play romantic music can actually add many new colors, many more personalities if we play more romantic music. So the next piece we're going to bring you is the second movement of the Sonata Arpeggione di Schubert, of Schubert. So in this example, I'm going to maximize, I'm going to exaggerate the direction of vibrato, and let's see if you can hear the difference. So the rule I apply here is simple. If the next note is higher from towards the upper direction, I use the upward vibrato. And if its melody is goes down, I use the downward vibrato. So for me, it actually creates some difference in the flow of music. So to get the basic thing out of the way, this is a Sala A92 horn, and I use the mouthpiece of playing. It's called Lemuria. So it basically, compared to Selmer concept, it gives a little bit more resistance and a little bit more detailed control when playing. I think it works for me. And then there's the reed. I'm using the plastic reed of silver steel. I'm actually using the highest number that I have, 3.75. But I don't think you have to use this hard reed. Okay? And also, if you use a softer reed, the vibrato can be a little bit even more faster. And then the ligature is just an old silver steel ligature, and this is a small thing called the frake. I'm their product ambassador in Italy, so I put it here. It basically changes a little bit the edge of the color of the sound and makes the vibrato on altissimi notes a little bit easier. Okay. So in the future, if you like to discover more romantic music, here's a little bit list of composers. Like there are many instrumental works like Schubert for Schumann, Brahms. They have many works for also viola, clarinet, and oboe, and there's many of them. Okay, and actually, I don't think some people told me that you have to play the works dedicated for saxophone more because this can like upbring the community. I get it, okay, but meanwhile there are so many saxophonists playing Baroque music, so that's not the reason, I think. Okay, so you can arrange any music you want. And then there's also many singing works like chamber vocal music, okay, opera arias. They can be transposed or directly played on saxophone. Actually, last year I played in Taiwan a small concert in a restaurant. I played many Italian vocal works like Concone and like Marquez, some small vocal pieces. They work very well on saxophone. And there are also some vocal etudes for also quite suitable for saxophone. And then I personally don't like some words that are too clarinet. Okay, because what do I mean too clarinet? They're like using saxophone as, let's say, too many short notes. Like this part is already developed for saxophone to Baroque music, because when we play Baroque music like Geremia or Bach, there are already many 16th notes, and we have already understand the characteristic of percussive short notes on saxophone. So personally, I will not transpose clarinet works with too many small notes. Okay, it's basically I don't think that it means too much, and we can leave them to the clarinetists. And then here's a site for Saxofono Romantico. It's the web page, and in this week I'm going to put some of my transposed works on the site. And there's also concerts info of the project Saxofono Romantico. And here's my email. If you have any questions, I'm very glad to communicate. Because there are, in Italy at least, there are not many classical saxophone musicians. Okay, so we don't have much time. So the last piece we are going to present is the leader slide of Bryson. This work originally is wrote for violin.
we have enough time, but if you have any questions, we can do a little bit Q&A if you ask me. Yes?
How do you adapt compositions that are written for an instrument with wider range? The high notes you can play altissimo, but the lower notes you can't play.
Yes, exactly. Actually, most works for the B-flat clarinet can adapt it without problems on saxophone. And if you encounter like some works for like viola, you can like, for example, if there's a scale from high to low, you can put the note that out of range. For example, the low A, if we have one, okay? You can choose a section and repeat it one octave higher. Okay? Not just that note high, but you have to select the kind of half a phrase or like several beats, or an octave higher or lower if you like. Yes. Actually, I'm preparing now for the sonata arpeggione or the whole pieces of Schubert. So in the first movement, there are actually several cases like this. If it goes too high, then you just have to play altissimo. So maybe not that beautiful. Okay, so you can choose to play higher or no. But there's also other options. Like if you can consult, because many romantic pieces have already been transposed to other instruments. Like, for example, flute. Okay, they have many examples, different arrangements for these kind of notes. Yeah. Just move a little bit the sections that over the range. So. So there's actually a personal problem of my nose. I can't do circular breathing because when I do, it creates a huge noise. It's blocked. So if I don't do some operation, I don't think I can do circular breathing. But there are some works, like if you try to arrange some works of same song, or if you want to try a Weber, there's actually it's actually helpful if you can do circular breathing on like particularly long phrases. Okay, it will be helpful, no doubt. Okay. Any other questions? Any questions, if you like? Or you can ask our Miss Pianist. Yeah. So one last thing I think I can share with you that the collaborator, Gianpaolo Stuani, Professor Stuani, he told me once that to play romantic music with saxophone is actually for him much comfortable and easier, because when he played them with string musicians, like for example cellist or violist, often he can't hear what he's playing because they don't have the huge dynamic range of saxophone. So, on the other hand, to collaborate with saxophone for the pianist, he can unleash his full potential. He don't have to worry that his sound will cover the soloist. He can play more role to sustain the saxophonist. And in many cases, like for example Brahms, his work is very, the sonority is very orchestral. So he can, without too many caution, he can just play all his power to play like an orchestra with me. So I think if you can find a collaborator, a pianist to play romantic piece with, he will be very happy. And also for them, at least Professor Stuart has told me that he can play this music for the whole life without a doubt, because it's very joyful to play these works. Not those modern works with sound effects and or too experimental. Yeah. But obviously, it's a personal preference. So, but I think your pianist will be very happy if you choose to play these pieces with them. Yeah. So thank you all very much to come here this afternoon, and again I thank you for to join the session and ask these valuable questions. I think I'm going to put the slide on my website. So yeah, if you are interested in more details, please come to this website. Okay, thank you very much.